Two, check. Two, hello, check. Look at that. Look at that. 12 on the dot. I'm gonna get these sleeves to look right. Ugh. Yes, as I was saying, 12 on the dot. Exactly 12 p.m., just as promised. Promises made, promises kept. As you can see, the stream started at exactly the right time. The exact time that I said, 12 at the latest. Right? That's what I said, 12 at the latest. Well, you'll notice, Onyx, that the stream, that includes the opening credits. That includes the opening credits. That doesn't mean that I'm here on camera at 12. That means the stream starts at 12. And you'll notice that this happened at exactly 12 p.m. and do not look into this. Do not look into it, okay? It was 12. Just trust me on this one. I told you that I would be here 12 at the latest, and I was. So let's just move on. What do you think of my shirt? I was just trying to get the sleeves right. The sleeves, I just got a bunch of new shirts.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
TRRS Rob Mode 2.
Hello, Margatron. Thanks for the 19 months of Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you, Margatron. And Chin Chin. Anyway, I just got... Do your own research on when Rob started the stream. I just got a bunch of new shirts. I ordered a couple of these shirts as a little treat for myself. I ordered a couple of these shirts and I just got them. I wasn't sure if I was going to bust one out today, but let's do it.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Long live Gaza.
Oh yeah, only fact. Thanks for the resub. And look at that. Congratulations to you. 24 months. 2 entire years, only fact. Please enjoy the brand new 2-year, 24-month sub badge. Very cool. Very cool, and I'm happy to have you here. Anyways, I got a bunch of these new shirts. I don't get new clothes very often. In fact, I probably need to get more new clothes. I just got a couple of these new shirts. Looking forward to busting those out. I wasn't sure if I was going to bust one out today, but I feel like it needs to be a certain climate for me to wear shirts like this. I think we're approaching that level today. It's not quite hot enough, I don't think, but... Why do you keep saying bust? Because I like to open up my camera and log on to here and bust things out for everybody. Like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm busting out a new shirt. I don't see the issue. And busting makes me feel good, as the classic Ghostbusters theme song tells us. Anyway, I got a couple of these new shirts. You'll see more of them over the summer. I got some pretty good ones. I got 2 more new ones. And the reason I was not late, but just brushing up against the line of being late, is that I did just get a new PS4. I hadn't had my PS4 for a little while, and I got a new one as a little treat. I don't get myself a lot of treats, right? I'm pretty frugal. I spend most of my money on like food and taking care of my kid and the various costs that entails. It was just my birthday, as you might remember. It was just my birthday. So I decided I got a couple of new shirts and I got a refurbished PS4. Now I didn't get the 5. I didn't feel like spending like, it's still like $500 to get one. I didn't feel like spending all that money. And then you got to get the new games. Then you have to get the new revamped Last of Us 2, and you have to get all the new upscaled versions of all the games, which turns into like a big purchase, you know. And I'm not quite there. I'm not quite where I need to be when it comes to making big video game purchases. Anyway, I like the PS4. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a few exclusives that it doesn't have, like the new Spider-Man game or whatever, but like there's lots of good games that I have currently for PS4. I got this excellent condition refurbished one. I'm going to play Red Dead Redemption 2, a couple of other games. You can hook your PC up to your TV and play controller games on your PC. Well, maybe I can do that as well. Yeah, it's still very good. And I got one of the new ones. It's like small. It's like smaller than the PS3 that I have. So yeah, that's all. I was just kind of I wanted to get that set up. I wanted to get that set up there. And so I was doing that, and now I'm gonna play Red Dead Redemption 2 finally. I tried playing it when it first came out. I didn't quite get into it. I kind of gave up on it, and now I'm gonna put my head down and get into that. And to get into the mindset for that, last night in Communist Canada, you only get a PS4. Listen, when I'm a big shot, I'll get a PS5. Okay, but I'm not. That's the reality. That's just the reality, you know? I do okay in my little media business. I have my daily little show that I do here. I have some podcast stuff. I get by all right. I'm not PS5 I'm not doing that well though. Like let's pump the brakes a little bit. And then again, like repurchasing all the games and all that shit. Like I don't have the ability to do that right now. Anyway, to get into the Red Dead Redemption 2 mentality, last night, for the first time, the Westerns are a pretty big blind spot for me. I've been trying to get caught up on some of them. Like over the last year, I rewatched Pale Rider for the first time in quite a while. I watched Hang 'em High as well. But last night, I made a cheeseburger, and it was very good. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see all the images of the food that I make. I guess I should post those in the Discord as well. But I made myself a cheeseburger, and okay, weird sound from a clicky sound from outside that I thought was my PC for a sec. Last night, Mondo Michel, for the first time, I had never seen this movie before. I watched Sergio Leone's classic, Once Upon a Time in the West. And oh my gosh, what a fucking movie. What a fucking movie. My goodness. The score. Like, even if everything about the movie was just completely shit, it would be 4 stars just because of that iconic Morricone score. And just the cinematography, the photography is so fucking good. Henry Fonda is the evil bad guy. You know, great Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson subs into that Clint Eastwood like nameless gunslinger role. Charles Bronson slots right in there, and he's fantastic. there's a reason Tarantino's obsessed with Morricone. I mean, you hear all the sound cues from Kill Bill, like you hear all those sound cues. Holy shit. Yeah, I know he did those very reactionary Death Wish movies, but in the 60s he had a crazy run. Like he was in Great Escape, he was in Dirty Dozen, he's in Once Upon a Time in the West, he's in a bunch of stuff in the 80s. Keep your loving brother happy. Oh fuck, Sean, that whole ending sequence. I was just watching that going, this is cinema. I was going, this is cinema. When they're like circling each other, the score kicks in. It's so long. It's like 4 minutes of just these guys staring at each other and slowly circling each other with the score coming in. And then it goes into that flashback. Oh my gosh. The thing is, I've never seen, I actually haven't seen Death Wish. I think, I don't know. Death Wish, when you get into like the modern, urban, tough on crime stuff, then I think you get into some thorny territory. Not that cowboy movies are not thorny territory as well, given us that they're essentially movies about settler colonialism. But anyway, just watching that ending sequence last night, my jaw was on the floor. I just couldn't believe it. And I don't know, you're so used to, it's good to revisit those films too, because like, you're so used to this kind of modern filmmaking style where everything has to like contribute to the plot. If the plot's not being advanced at all times, what are you doing? Move this along, which is weird because these movies are still 3 goddamn hours. But like, and everything has to be like a quip. Every 2 lines, you gotta have a good zinger, and everything is so carefully designed. And then you look at this movie, and it's just like, just taking time, to settle down, you know. And these whole 5-minute sequence going on where like not all that much is going on, and everything is being conveyed in like glances, like these eyes, the focus on the eyes. Or the focus on this like sweaty, ugly mug, you know? And this tension is building, and the sounds in the background, the repetitive sounds in the backgrounds. Man. Master TFC, I'm talking about Once Upon a Time in the West, the Sergio Leone film. The windmill at the train station. Yeah, and again, you see where Tarantino just copied all this shit. Like, you see that just repeatedly in Kill Bill. I haven't seen Good, Bad, and the Ugly either. I think I'm going to be watching that next, though. It's a big blind spot for me, these like 60s and 70s westerns and the spaghetti westerns and that kind of stuff. Oh, man. Did not watch Deadwood either. I watched some of it. Like, I'm familiar with some of the characters, but I never watched the whole series. It's Hawaiian shirt summer, Crystal. I'm stepping up my game here. I just got a bunch of new shirts. I'm really leaning into my middle-aged, overweight man dynamic here. I'm embracing it. It's fine. I still feel like the sleeves are too long, even though they're rolled up. think I like them to be like really short. I feel like the arms are my good quality that I. Need a pack of smokes for this sleeve. That's right. Pack of darts. Anyway, Once Upon a Time in the West. What a picture! That like that whole last sequence with Charles Bronson and Henry Fonda. I was just losing it. I was absolutely losing it. It's just so great. Let's get some scissors and turn it into a vest. I don't think I'm quite ready to go there yet. Unfortunately. Don't think I'm quite ready to go there quite yet. Do they say the line "Once Upon a Time in the West"? Yes, it famously starts with a whole monologue. Well, once by an old codger. Well, once upon a time in the West, there was a man with a harmonica. And he continually narrates throughout the film. You'll remember that famous that famous voiceover narration. Well, that's how it goes when you're once upon a time in the West. Boom, 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 boom. Another big bite. Very big bite. The lesson is to not go through life being such a piece of shit you can't even remember half the trauma you've inflicted. As I get older, I really do appreciate that you will forget stuff that other people were really mad about thing. It's like, you know, you were a real piece of shit when you're like, okay, this guy obviously wants to kill me. Clearly I did something to deserve this. It involves a harmonica somehow, and that's still not enough. You know? That's still, it's like, that could be any number of different incidents. I still need more. I still need more than that, actually. There's like 5 or 6 different harmonica incidents in the past that this might be a reference to. And I guess I don't know enough about Henry Fonda's career that it was so, like, weird and subversive to see him as a heartless, cruel killer like that. I was reading that he showed up to be in the movie and he had like brown contact lenses and facial hair and stuff, and Sergio Leone was like, no. You got to get rid of that. We want blue-eyed Henry Fonda here. His piercing blue eyes popping off the screen while he's doing the most horrible shit that you can imagine. Well, now that you've used my name. And there's a match cut to a fucking train. From the pistol to the train with the smoke coming out of the train. Give me a break. Come on. Come on now. You know, like, it's enough. Come on, Sergio.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Haunting harmonica noises.
Oh shit, Sean, thanks for 40 months of tier 1. Very much appreciated. I am totally going to watch the rest of these because this blew me away last night. You know those old movies that you haven't seen for a long time and you're like, well, how good can it really be? You know? And then you watch it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I get why this is like iconic. Why I've seen echoes of this throughout culture for the last 60 years. I understand that now. Shirt's looking good in 160p. Good. Good, I'm glad. Kurosawa is another big blind spot for me as well. I guess I'm going to have to go down that rabbit hole as well. Because he influenced all those movies as well, and he influenced Star Wars and everything. Kubrick too, and that is one where I've seen most of his movies, but dudes who just made timeless movies where every frame is, as they say, a painting. It's almost as if it's photography, you know? We lose that, don't we? It's photography. That's something that has been lost, I fear. We're not really thinking about that kind of stuff anymore. Maybe some filmmakers are, but... Every frame an adult paint by numbers scene. Yeah, I mean, you can try and frame a shot, but when you're framing a shot and you're trying to make this visually appealing image and it's just this big green screen computer generated, like it looks like AI. Like it looks like AI even though it's human beings making it. I just watched Lawrence of Arabia. I've never seen that one as well, and I would really like to, especially considering, you know, the ramifications of everything that we're experiencing right now. There's a shot in Citizen Kane where they go from the exterior to interior with a really good edit, and once you see it, you're like, oh, that's where all movies got that. Yeah, and then that's the thing, you look back on some of these old movies and you're just like, what's the big deal? I don't understand what all the hullabaloo is about. You know? I don't get it. It's because it's influenced every single movie that ever came after it. Lawrence of Arabia was the first CinemaScope film. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I think Zulu was CinemaScope as well, and Zulu also looks fucking fantastic. You should watch the Ramen Western Tampopo, okay? I gotta get a list going. I gotta get a list. Is this the same TRRS from yesterday, or am I in another stream? It is the same. Yeah. Have you seen Reds? Is that the Warren Beatty movie? I haven't seen it, but I am familiar with it. I just love that, though. Obviously fucked with this guy in the past. Something to do with a harmonica. No, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Man. Let me look at my terrible crimes archive. Exactly. I should have. I used to be a real piece of shit. Yeah, I got to be writing this stuff down so I remember in the future. You always think you're going to remember when you're inflicting a horrible trauma on somebody involving an instrument. You imagine that you're going to remember, but then the years go by and it gets lost. Day of the Jackal is a must-see if you dig political thrillers. I have yet to watch it. It's on the list. I just looked at your letterbox. Will you ever give a movie that isn't Avatar 5 stars? Or is the perfect non-Avatar movie a 4.5 in your rankings? That would be a funny bit, but I've given multiple movies 5 stars. I've given multiple 5. I'm generous with the 5 stars, including Avatar, which is also a masterpiece. That would be a very good bit, though. Does Big Lebowski have 5 stars? I don't know if I've rated it. I don't know that I've rated Big Lebowski, because I don't know if I've watched it since I started doing the Letterboxd. 3 Days of the Condor is a much watch. I did watch that. I only started because I went through a good movie period last year where I watched Parallax View and 3 Days of the Condor, but I only started doing Letterboxd later in the summer, and then I was trying to remember when I watched them, and I couldn't fix on the dates, so my Letterboxd is missing some crucial additions because I went through a whole period where I was watching all those 70s political thrillers. I mean, look, I've given 5 stars this. Okay, first of all, I'm up. I think Once Upon a Time in the West I had at 4.5, and that was an accident. So I bumped that up to 5. Even this month, I got Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior at 5 stars, and 2001: A Space Odyssey 5 stars. I'm very generous with the 5 stars. Space Odyssey is great. Talk about Kubrick and, you know, the every frame a painting thing. Like I was saying the other day, when I was watching that the other night, just the scene, just the scene when they're on the moon and they're going into that like excavation on the moon, and it's just the framing of the astronauts there with the monolith at the bottom of this like path on the moon. And with the music, I was just watching this, just losing my mind, and nothing really happens. Again, it's just a bunch of guys standing there looking at a big object, and they slowly walk down to the object. And I was watching this just going like, oh my God. I was just, well, I wasn't doing that, but you know, I was really like just blown away. Wake up, babe. Daily PsyOps stream just started. Good. That's right. Yes, it did. Eating my apple. Hold on just one sec, folks. Just talk to the chair for a moment. You gotta get a custom chair cover that's just an image of you sitting on the chair at full scale. That'd be a good bit. My face is getting all dry. Not to give you too many details about that, I'm also getting my haircut tomorrow, as I mentioned. My dad heard I liked Star Wars, so in pure dad fashion, he took 6-year-old me to a viewing of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I was very excited about most of the movie and horrified at HAL 9000, and I never really got the ending until years later read the book. Yeah, I have all those books actually. I got obsessed with those when I was a teenager. I have all those Arthur C. Clarke books. I am going to keep the mullet. It's just going to be a little more subdued. I got to get something to last me for the summer here. I would kind of like to see 2010, actually. I remember nothing of the plot. I've read the book of it, and I remember nothing of the plot. It's hard to compete with Kubrick operating at the very, top of his game. But I've heard that it's not that bad. Isn't Roy Scheider in there? I think it's got a good cast. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think my son could watch all of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think he would probably find it, maybe a little boring in parts, though. But I did show him the HAL 9000 part. He loves that. He loves HAL 9000, that whole scene. And I want to show him the Dawn of Man sequence as well, because I think he's really going to like that. I don't think he could sit there through the whole... When they're, just sitting in the space station Hilton, just chatting. I don't know if he would really be into that. I only showed him the most traumatic scene. Well, I didn't show him the part where the little pod goes and grabs Frank Poole and tosses him off into space. Just the "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that." Just that part. He really liked that. And what's the line is so great. He's like, "What's the problem, Hal?" And Hal is that the line is so great. He's like, "I think we both know what the problem is, Dave," or something like that. It's so awesome. You can sense his desperation. Yeah, maybe you should just go take a stress pill and sit down and really think about this. Man, movies, huh? Huh? The fucking movies. What more can you even say? What more can you even say? The fucking movies. It's why I made movies my career. You made movies your career, Margatron? That's really cool. The closest I've ever come is being a subtitling editor. That's the absolute closest I've ever come. I'm still hoping to get there, though. That's still my dream. That's the dream of little, like, 10, 11, 12-year-old Rob. And it's still alive inside me somewhere. And I'm still working on it. I'm still gonna try. You worked on Venom's project? That's right, I've been making a few little things. You make movies every day on twitch.tv. Who needs to like make an actual movie? When I'm on here, I'm on my little show that I do here in my office, talking about whacking off all day. You know, who needs to like be a serious filmmaker or artist? And becoming a colorist. Very cool. That is very cool. I took several film classes in university. The production one convinced me I never wanted to work on a film set. Such a long and boring day. Yeah, I think it does seem a little bit like that. Yeah, I never really pursued filmmaking like because I was just focused. I got focused on music. Like that was the thing. That was always my dream when I was a really little, to be like a writer or a filmmaker or whatever. But I went to like a independent hardcore show in a church when I was like 15 years old, and I was just like, oh my god, and it just rewired my whole brain, and all I wanted to do was be in a band. And that's all I really thought about for about, 11, 12 years. It was like the primary thing that I thought about. So when I was in university, I was just like, I was getting my degree, but all I was thinking about was trying to be in a band. What music were you into when you were younger? I had different phases of different stuff, I was really heavily into like classic rock for quite a while. I had some hip hop phases. And then I got really into like hardcore and independent music and punk and that kind of stuff. Sean, it's not too late. It's not too late, Sean. It's not too late to pursue your dream. One way to ensure that your dream never ever comes true is to say, I'm too old. I can't do it. I don't know anyone. It's never going to happen. Well, if that's your attitude, then no, it won't happen. I'm still trying. I don't care. I'm 41. I'm still going for it. I'm still trying. Would you believe I'm a bit of a defeatist? Yeah, I would believe that. From punk hardcore to Steely Dan pipeline. Well, that's the thing. I've always been into classic rock. I really did love Deacon Blues, the Steely Dan song Deacon Blues, because I remember my dad listening to it a lot. I only became a real Dan head though, like in my late 30s though. This AI bullshit could make your dreams come true. I think meet Showrunner, the Netflix of AI that turns viewers into TV show creators. Like, I don't doubt that there's this effort to use AI in this way. Like the way that these guys talk about it, like, oh, you say, I want a movie that's this and this and this starring this person, and then you're going to have this like AI just like spit something out at you. But like, I think AI might be some kind of a valuable tool for actually creative people, but at the same time, when you're trying to make any kind of art, this is antithetical to what films are and what art is supposed to be, because you're supposed to share it. You're supposed to share it with other people. A film is supposed to play in a cinema with people sitting there watching it, and then everyone watches the same thing, and you go and talk about it, and you analyze it, and you critique it, or any kind of art, right? It's so antithetical to that, to have this personalized, individualized thing that only you experience and only you see. Like, what is that for? Why would we want that? Why would anyone want that? Turning art into this like individualistic kind of like masturbatory kind of exercise, We individualized movie slop. Exactly. Like, we can't even have that. Yeah, I don't know about the Netflix of AI. Made with Showrunner, the company's text-to-episode system. I don't know, man. Just, again, I'm not an anti-AI Luddite, but like, enough is enough. Like I said, I think some creative people might be able to use this technology in interesting ways. But there's something fucking deeply demonic and grotesque about the what is the word? The company's text-to-episode system. Man. We don't want that. I'm an artist. My medium is wood. Very cool, Anus Beard. Very cool. In a lot of ways, creation of art is masturbatory. Maybe, but like, I guess just this whole point of like this individualization of it is what I'm talking about. Because it's supposed to be shared. It's supposed to be like a shared experience. You create something and then other people get to experience it. And then it makes them feel something. They feel something from when they see your art. They feel a sense of catharsis. That's what art is supposed to be. This is this like late capitalist dystopian, I'm tired from my job, from my gig economy job, and I'm going to go sit down and order a DoorDash meal from a gig economy slave, and I'm going to just create some like individualized thing that just like hits all the dopamine receptors in my brain and gets them all firing, and then it's like, and that's it, I'm just going to go to sleep, and then it's going to be forgotten. It's just going to go down into this like, this blob, it's just going to be flushed down the toilet. Why do you as a man want to feel something that another director is feeling? But the social element is important because people will see things in you and your art that you don't even see in yourself. That's true of a socializing generally. Actually, I hate it too, but I also don't want to end up a weird libertarian freak. Well, and I think that's the cool thing about criticism as well, is that you can totally take the artist intent out of it, and people can project their own meanings onto something. Like, there's all these like these libertarian tech guys looking at these like modern art pieces, like, what is this supposed to mean? Tell me what it means. Tell me what it means, And it's like, you tell me what it means. You decide what it means. I really subscribe to that kind of form of criticism, whether it's film or whatever. It's like, I think the artist intent is important, but I think if you can successfully argue that this is the meaning of something, regardless of what their intention was, you've given it that meaning, I think that's really cool. Like I was talking about with Zulu the other day, right? Zulu, if you look at it through this very reactionary mentality, you'll see it as this glorification of the British Empire. If you look at it through the anti-colonialist lens, you can see an anti-colonialist movie. Right? What was the artist's intent? Well, we don't know exactly. where was the line where they were trying to operate between glorification of colonialism and the British Empire and this anti-colonial statement? You know, does it matter what the filmmakers wanted to do or what the artists wanted to do? Like, you can decide that for yourself. Just those guys are just rerunning the Nazi degenerate art critiques. Art should just be like a hyper realistic image of a human person, you know? And that's all it can be. Or like a landscape. And like that art can be fine too. Art should just be a Bavarian landscape, exactly. Sorry, AI says the Deckard is actually a replicant. Well, that was actually one thing that I didn't love about the new Blade Runner film, which is that it really filled in that blank explicitly, which I think is what's cool about Blade Runner, is that it's left ambiguous. It was yet another case of like insisting that you have some kind of definitive statement there, when it's way more interesting when it doesn't. I liked parts of that new Blade Runner movie, but I also thought like it was shoehorning the plot of the previous film into it. I thought it would have been way better without Harrison Ford and without trying to like connect it to the... Harrison Ford just doesn't seem like he wants to be in any of these movies, honestly. He just doesn't seem like he wants to be there. The visuals in the new one were amazing, yeah, and the score as well was really cool. There was a lot about it that I liked, but I wasn't crazy about it. No, I know he doesn't. That's the thing. But it's like he's in his late career, like in his 70s and 80s, he's like, let's do Han Solo again. We're going to do Deckard again. We're going to do Indiana Jones again. I'm literally an old man. Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Fine, here it is. He seemed to really want to do the Indiana Jones thing too, but just, wasn't that good. Yeah, he gave a 3/4 ass performance in Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. I guess it's just the same thing. It's just that first trilogy, there's plenty of flaws in those movies, but like it's shot on film by Spielberg. I don't know who the DOP was, but like it just looks fucking great. And no matter how, even if you've got Indiana Jones, if you've got Harrison Ford buying in, if you've got a decent script, if you've got like all a big budget, it just doesn't look the same. It looks like modern slop. It doesn't look like a fucking movie. There's no connection, to these movies that are shot on film. It really makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. Maybe these actors literally made deals with the devil and they're trapped by magic. Well, I guess that's possible. I guess it's possible. I'd believe Harrison Ford was given an ultimatum. We either have you in the movie or force the movie to have a CG version of you. And that's the thing, like, I wanted to like that whole young Indiana Jones sequence, and it's cool. Like, it's in a way, it's cool. It tickles that nostalgia center of your brain. You see young Harrison Ford on the screen again. But then it gets so weird when he opens his mouth and starts talking, and he sounds like an old man with his like voice not really like synced to the lip movements, and it just feels weird. Like, what am I looking at here? Crystal Skull was pretty shit. I remember not hating it at the time, but the more time like went on, I was like, there's really the whole Shia LaBeouf swinging through the jungle thing was like on the vines, remember? And Crystal Skull, it starts off with the shot of like a CGI gopher or something like that. It's so weird. I haven't seen it since it came out. It's crazy how movies like that of the Flash spend like $500 million on the production. It looks like garbage compared to movies made with a fraction of the price. This is kind of what I've been talking about a lot lately. The Flash looked like shit at a lot of times. And you can look at like a random action movie from like the early 90s and it's shot competently, it's shot on film. It looks fucking great. Okay, Old Dutch has a Ghostface Killah quote about art. I don't give a fuck if you don't know what I'm talking about. This is art. When you go see a painting on the wall and it looks bugged out because you don't know what the fuck he's thinking, because he ain't got no benches, no trees there, it's just a splash. That person that did it know what the fuck it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, yeah, the person that painted it knows what it is, and you can decide what it is for yourself. It means whatever you want it to mean. In fact, the very fact that you're asking the question, what is this? What does this mean? Means that it's art. It's making you think about something. It's making you have a feeling about something. It's starting a conversation. That's literally art when you're doing that. You know? Either one, I'm looking forward to the endless straight-to-DVD AI Steven Seagal movies. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. Like when Rob puts on cat ears, what does it mean? How does it make you feel? Exactly. And it is art. And this show is art that you're watching right now. Or I could do that, usually in reference to abstract art. Best response I've ever heard to that is, yeah, but you didn't. No one's stopping you, you know? No one is stopping you. If it's that fucking easy, and this applies to anything, you know? I've had people say this about like Twitch streaming or whatever. Oh, it's not a real job. It's just a bullshit, fake job. And yet, partially that part of that is true. But it's like, you know, if it's so easy, just do it. If it's so easy to do, you know, just do it. No one is stopping you. No one is stopping you from picking up a canvas and a paintbrush and creating something. No one is stopping you. Have you tried making one of those AI things of yourself from TRRS footage? The only thing I remember, I did do the thing where I translated what I was saying into Mandarin. Rob doesn't actually care about politics. It's just avant-garde performance art. There's an element of the performance art to it. I do care about politics, but yesterday I lay down on my sofa for like 45 minutes and people were watching it. You know? What is that? One time he stood in the corner and made me feel things. Exactly. What? So what do you mean by that, Dakadoon? Like the AI things of yourself from TRRS footage? Like what do you mean? I'm sad I missed yesterday's episode. Now I'm gonna try it again because now I know I could. Because I was thinking, how do I get my mic over there? I'm gonna get a bigger XLR cable. But you know what I could do, folks? I could just lie on my sofa and plug in my headphone mic to my phone, and then go get into the Discord voice channel, and I could do it like that easily. I was on my phone, Sean, but I was just chatting. It was just silent with music playing, and I was lying on the sofa, and I was just on my phone chatting. With more footage, they tend to be better. I was there. You see a lot of them on TikTok of like in the NBA. You'll see like a press conference of LeBron James. Like trashing all his teammates and stuff. I love talking about this stuff, honestly. The movies, art. I really do enjoy talking about it with you folks. Gooning. That's not what I want. That's you. I was spitting here.
事实上，过去30年来，特别在 Double-Base 这種方式發展，他們在當中有這種大幅度的增長。Target to CSE 就連基本上生活水平啊，貧富減少。我哋來說，仍然是一個非常貧窮嘅國家，非常貧窮。但那個裡面獲得的進步，不僅僅是中國，而且 Kicks and Carrot 提供有雙非洲的替代方案，而非洲就是對個拉丁美洲的人們。對於其他曾經是帝國主義受害者的國家，對於需要發展、需要基礎設施、需要資源、需要資本的其他國家的系統 ，or invest 資助項目和資金。你知道，修建醫院和學校和道路和港口 ，or began 向 TRRS 提供到一個不同的選擇。那不是國際貨幣基金組織，那不是美國政府或加拿大政府，你知道佢哋在這裡嘅 legendary skills 嘅請教。事實上。
Much to think about. Much to think about, folks. No, we say that, Sean. It's not just me. We all say that. You were right the first time. Can instantly disappear into any culture. Painters painting. I'm going to remember that, Old Dutch. Or I probably won't, actually, so you should probably send it to me. Ugh. Try to send you a reminder. Thank you. Thank you. I know that's not your job, you know? It's not your job to do that, but... Why did I have so much light there?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Woo.
Comradesky, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if anyone else would like to subscribe to this program, please do. Please subscribe if you can. This is my art, you know, every single day.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Okay, fine.
Moss, thanks for the 39 months. Very much appreciated. This, as I've been saying, this is my art. This little corner of the screen where I live. This is my canvas. This is my canvas, folks. And every single day, I come on here and paint my masterpiece. which is a day by day process, and it's a cumulative. It's cumulative. It's been like 10,000 hours or something. Maybe not 10,000. Maybe 1,000. I don't remember. It's been a lot. Don't worry about that. But if you can, please do subscribe. It's the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show, folks. It's the only way I'm able to keep doing it is if people subscribe. So please do support the stream if you can. It'll all snap into place for us one day. Just got to keep investing. Exactly. Exactly. I don't know how long it's because I have streamed for more than 2,000 hours altogether, and I got that a while ago. So who knows what the number is now. I'm approaching. It looks like I'm about 60% there. So is it even worth pointing out? But so I'm at 296,000 hours watched on this channel. Wow. Gee, that's so shocking. Yeah, thank you, Anon. Thank you, Anon, for the gifted sub. Very kind of you. I don't know why the alert didn't. Is it an Anon thing? Is that why that's happening? I don't know. But thank you, Anon, for the gifted sub. I appreciate it. Weenus, I love that song. I love that song, China Girl by Bowie. That's one of my favorite Bowie songs. The Bowie's band at that time with, I think it was Tony Thompson on drums and fucking Stevie Ray Vaughan playing guitar. Oh my God. The sound of some of those 80s songs that he did is just phenomenal. Love the drum playing in that song. The drumming is so great. Anywho. I suppose I should get into the serious business for today at some point. In fact, let's do this. I don't know. Let's do this. There's going to be some Israel stuff in here, but I think I have to look at this video of Joe Brandon. Did people see the Juneteenth video of Joe Brandon? It's so God. Oh man. Like again, Americans, I'm sorry to fixate on this. Americans wonder, why do people around the world comment on this? Why don't you fix your own country? Yeah, no, it's like, let's just not ever comment on the fact that like the global hegemon that controls the entire global economy and has had full iron gripped military control over most of the world for my entire life. And this is what's going on in the presidential elections, the most powerful echelons of power in the United States. No, don't ever comment on that. Don't talk about that. You don't live here. You're not allowed to talk about it. Sorry, Americans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about it. When you have this fucked up like criminal game show host and this senile old man competing to be the head honcho of the whole country as it's slowly swirling the drain, we're going to talk about it. It's pretty hard not to talk about. You aliens in the Outer Rim are obsessed with the galactic empire dominating the galaxy. It's like we're like on a moon around Coruscant. It's like you're not on the planet. You're not on the planet. We're not even in the Outer Rim. Like we're right fucking there. Anyway, here's Biden at one of these Juneteenth celebrations. Look at this guy. No clue where he is. He looks like a child. He looks like a child at like a carnival, just transfixed by the carousel or something.
You grads in here, we got some HBCU grads. Even if you short a couple credit hours, you can.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. Her decades-long march brought her here to the White House when she stood by my side as I signed the Juneteenth federal holiday.
I'm sorry, what was that? I love the blank stare though. That's very good. Two. Okay, that's probably not good. I'm getting some mic issues that are not related to me being muted. That's probably being muted when you're not actually muted is probably not good. No, I'm not muted because I can see now the audio. I can see it. Anyway, my point was to St. Lotus. This is what my partner's grandma with dementia sounds like, and it's very sad. And I don't doubt that it is sad that, you know, your partner and her family are experiencing that. I would feel more sympathy for Biden if he wasn't actively supporting and funding and diplomatically backing the mass murder of little children. I would feel much more sympathy, and I would feel weird about laughing about it. But since he is doing those things, I don't care. Rob, synesthesia, Rousseau. I actually do see music. Like, that is a real thing. That is actually true. Anyway, I don't see like notes or whatever dancing in front of me, but like if I can like, I see like guitar chords. Does that make sense? Like I hear a song and I can see like good shapes of hands and like I can see where the notes go. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's not like a physical thing that's like in front of me. It's like in my mind. But anyway, maybe that's not the same thing. I just wanted to hear Biden one more time.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. Her decades-long march never be secured. Our freedom died. So long. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. She knows so long as she was denied.
She knew so long ago she was denied. I think.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
She knew as long as she was denied, her freedom could never be secured. Was that it?
You short a couple credit hours, you can.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. Her decades-long march brought her here to the White House when she stood by my side as I signed the Juneteenth federal holiday.
I just love his face. He looks like she'd be wearing like one of those propeller hats. Remember those? He's just having a great time, you know? He's like, he doesn't really know what's happening, doesn't really know what's going on or who anyone is around him, but he's like, ooh, lights. I hear lights and like some music. It's activating some kind of like long forgotten memory or something like that. He's back in some fucking carnival in he's from Delaware. Oh, they don't even have the remarks up on the transcript. That's good. He's back with Corn Pop, exactly. Just like that. He can only be sharp for a few moments a month to defend Israel before going back into his semi-catatonic state. Yeah, they have Kamala's remarks from the event, but not his. Libs defending him not taking a cognitive test for his physical is wild. Because they know exactly what it's going to say. This whole reaction to that like Wall Street Journal piece. Oh, this is like a hit job. Because you have all these people confirming what every single person can see about this guy. That he very clearly does not know what's going on a lot of the time. He's barely coherent a lot of the time. And people are saying, yeah, in White House meetings, he's like closing his eyes. He's speaking so low that I can't even hear what he's saying. Like, we all know it's going to, we've known for years. We knew in 2020 as well. Like, we were all talking about this prior to the primary. There was literally, and Jordan on the podcast this week pointed this out as well. There was literally Democrats in the primary talking about it. And then as soon as Biden was the guy, because none of their other like B-listers managed to challenge Bernie, so they're like, all right, fuck it, fine, Biden, let's do that. And then all these people that were calling him, they were saying he was cognitively declining. They were like, oh no, we were just joking about that. Actually, that's just like it's like a Russian disinformation thing to say that. It was a debate. That's right. It was a debate when I called him a segregationist, when I accurately described him as a segregationist. Can you imagine Biden making this expression with one of those comically big lollies, though? Can you just imagine that? I know he likes ice cream and everything, but if you could imagine with one of those comically big lollies and maybe this propeller hat, the propeller beanie. The wheels were coming off back when the first debates happened. He's going to get eaten alive this time around. Yeah, and like, he has to campaign. He did not campaign in the previous election. He campaigned from his basement. I wasn't with you on the hat at first, but if he gets a giant lollipop, I'm in on this new look. I think that would work, you know? That would definitely work. I have a meme in the oven, almost posted it last election. It's a Joe Brandon brain jello mold. That sounds good. He's not campaigning currently. He's also has zero platform. His platform is literally Trump bad. They're doing the exact campaign that Hillary ran and lost in 2016. Trump bad and pissing in the face of the left. No, I'm sure that's going to go really well. The campaigns are Trump bad and Biden bad. And like we looked at the Trump thing yesterday, but it's like it's worth remembering. Like Trump is definitely more coherent, even though Trump has his own problems with cognitive decline as well, I think. But Trump is still able to like talk somewhat coherently, if coherent for Trump. But then he's just doing this.
They were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's
These
no
are
problem
America's
with
two
sharks. They
guys.
just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now. It really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking? Water goes over the battery. The boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark. So we're going to...
This is America. This is the global hegemon, the shining beacon of democracy for the whole world, the leader of the rules-based order. These are your two guys. These are who you have to choose from in the beautiful democracy. This is Western liberal democracy, baby. There's no place like it, especially America. It's the ultimate distillation of it. The best and the brightest, going head to head to lead the country with proposing all the different ideas and policies. You know? Beautiful. There's something beautiful about it. Meanwhile, Trump also has like 5 separate criminal indictments going on at the same time. The shining beacon of democracy, folks. How exciting. I have fireside chats about sharks. Sorry, I just saw right now that a person I've known on Twitter for a long time, Firescotch, passed away. It was a long-time mutual on Twitter. I just found this out at this exact time. R.I.P. to him. It seemed like a really cool guy. Damn. I did do we're trying to do like the insurgent stuff on YouTube more. So I did make a little Trump shark video today on there. And if you're not following the Insurgents podcast on YouTube, please do that. Because we're trying to get that going a little bit more.
So there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking? Water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Why can't he just do this? Why can't he just give speeches and talk about shark versus electrocution hypotheticals, or talk about old TV shows or films that he likes, or actors and actresses that he used to hang out with in the 80s. He could just do that and everyone would be happy. But no, he's got to be president and do a bunch of crimes.
So there's a
That would be so much better, though, wouldn't it? Imagine if he was if it was just that. Just give this guy a TV show. That's all he ever really wanted. That's all he ever really wanted was to have a TV show. Just put this guy on TV. He doesn't need to be president. Make him a Shark Week host. Yeah, if you're wondering why the Twitter link is broken in the event, I think I would say that's probably what it is because they finally went over to x.com. I've never called it X, and x.com is the stupidest thing. It's so stupid. X.com. So being fired from Apprentice was his Hitler Art Academy moment. Yeah, I think kinda. Yeah. Although he did a lot of horrible stuff in his life prior to that, so maybe that's being a little bit generous, but I would love to see Trump's reaction to watching Ancient Aliens. Just put him in front of some weird stuff and get him to weigh in on it. It's going to be very funny and entertaining, you know? And he's not going to be bothering anybody. And he has no power to like implement policy in the government, you know? You're basically saying Trump should be a Twitch streamer. I wasn't saying that, but now I think I am saying that. Now I think I am. I think Trump would be very good on Twitch. And I don't want to say like, oh, I think he's a great guy. I support him. I do not, you know? I don't. But I think that would be a better use of his time than trying to be president and trying to actually have like power in American society. It's the only time it's morally correct to suggest someone become a YouTube Reacts channel, for sure, yeah. Anus Beard, thank you for the gifted sub. We appreciate our sub gifters so much. We appreciate our beautiful sub gifters. You know, that would be great. Thank you to Cummaster 420. Cummaster 420 is currently leading the charge in the gifted subs. You know? Many people are saying he's got the fattest pussy. Okay, no, that's going too far. Of course you would watch this. Of course you would watch it. Obviously you would watch it. We would all watch it.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Bleep Lord, thank you for gifting a sub to Cummaster 420. Give me your primes. Take that money from Pesky Jeff. They're calling him Pesky Jeff. He'd end up on Kick. Yeah, maybe. We know we would all watch this. We would obviously all watch this. Trump versus Rob, who pauses more during a 30-minute video. The thing is, I think Trump would pause less, but he would go on longer digressions. Trump would have like a paused video on the screen, and it would be like 45 minutes. He'd be off in some completely different tangent, you know? Just totally, completely unrelated to anything that they're looking at. And then they're trying to go back to it, and then it's impossible. He doesn't even remember what they were reacting to. That's it. I think there would be less overall pauses, but longer digressions. Eating taco bowls as the stream starts. Absolutely. His sublers would be clips of himself. Can you imagine how narcissistic you'd have to be? Can you imagine how narcissistic you'd have to be if you had a whole community that paid to have flashing animations of yourself with your own voice on the screen? Can you imagine what kind of a sick individual you'd have to be? What kind of a narcissist? Pathetic. This is one of those things where I don't know. Okay, I think it is a gag, but this is how wild Trump is, that like I really was not sure if this was a gag or not. Like I would believe this is real. When he says the Biden economy is the worst economy in the history of economies, and there's been many economies. The prices are insane. This is a menu from the Cheesecake Factory. We love that place, don't we? One of the best factories. The warm crab dip is $47. These are Biden prices. And I bet it's not even warm since Biden is so bad with energy. Ice cold crab dip, $47. Oh boy. Let's just move on from this. I did that actually on purpose to make fun of Trump, and people thinking that was an accident and making fun of me for it is like de facto supporting Trump. So I would like people to really think if you want to be on here supporting Trump by not recognizing that was obviously intentional. Anyway, I really would have believed that was a real digression in the Trump speech there. Oh shit, sorry. This is interesting. Look at this. Starfleet Academy, new Star Trek show. Paul Giamatti joining the cast as recurring guest star. Paul Giamatti in a Starfleet Academy TV series. Hell yeah. I don't recognize anything that's being... I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to be serious on here and talk about serious issues, and I don't really recognize any of the kind of immature stuff that I'm seeing in the chat. You better be a little alien freak. I imagine he's going to be a asshole Starfleet instructor. What if they're just doing the holdovers but in space? I would watch the shit out of that. He's stuck in Starfleet Academy for the winter with the one student that doesn't have a place to go. Are we about ready to move on and get serious, folks? It's so hard for me to say, like, move on and get serious when I look at the screen. I'm wearing a pineapple shirt. You're all very funny. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, Lodane. I've been on here doing serious journalism and analysis. I do not know what you're referring to. Maybe I should just take a little break until everyone settles down. Maybe I should go have a lie down on the sofa. Maybe that's what this chat needs. And no one mentioned that I was in the process of doing what I thought was a very good Trump impression. And now no one's even talking about that. Whatever, see if I care. See if I care. Thank you, Risk Inverse. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. What to do now? That's the question. That is the question. I'm on audio, and when I heard your impression, I got spooked. I thought Trump was right behind me. Good. Yeah. No, that wasn't Trump. That wasn't Donald Trump. That was actually me. That was actually me doing that. Is there a trailer for the new Star Trek show? I don't think so. This is the first I've heard of it, actually.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
This is the first I've heard of it. I think it's just casting now, so. I've heard you do the Alex Jones impersonation. It's been too accurate. I think that's my ultimate impression that I do. As you know, I can't mimic any other culture.
Old Rob to talk you through all this.
So yeah, Risk Inverse, thanks for the gifted sub. I appreciate it. And thank you to Quaker Oats Guy as well. And I'm sorry your comment was censored. I'm sorry, I'm looking at DMs that I'm getting at the same time. That was very rude of me. Quaker Oats guy, I'm sorry your comment was censored by the text-to-speech. Anyway, all right. What to move on to next? I mean, I guess this is all part of America Declines. Like, we can get into some of the Israel stuff as well. That's part of it. America Declining is part of that. I may need to just take a little break. What, I'm going on 2 hours? Maybe I should just take a little break. I'm too disoriented right now.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Ice cold crab DIHK in Joe Brandon's America. All we have is ice cold crab DIHK.
Ice cold crab DIHK. Okay, I don't know what that means totally, but thank you to St. Lotus for the 200 bits. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, St. Lotus. Ugh. Ugh. I'm going to take a little break. You know, me saying silly things on here, that's part of my ongoing performance art masterpiece, by the way. You know, just so that's clear. You're all entertained. It's become part of the fabric of the show. And you're playing right into my hands by reacting like that.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Folks, there was a crab named Richard. He was a killer, ice cold, folks. No one like him.
Thank you, Joe, for the 200 bits. Very much appreciate. Only Fact, thank you for the gifted sub as well. I appreciate that, Only Fact. Thank you. Maybe I need to go have a little lie down. Rob is actually Daniel Day-Lewis doing a long build-up for a biopic. That's right. All this time I've been actor Daniel Day-Lewis. Look at that, folks. So we just started this hype train 95% of the way through level 1. One gifted sub or one more subscription would get to level 2. And remember, if you can, please do subscribe to this program.
We simply
it is the only
use the computer
way
to mark up the size of the account.
GKDIQ Dick, this is a test.
Thank you, Bleep Lord, for the 200 bits. Thank you. And I don't think we need to look further into this. I think we've discovered the answer to what we were looking for. Why is it doing that? Brandon, thank you for the gifted sub as well. Very much appreciated. Thank you for that. Lodane, like, why is this happening? I changed nothing. I changed nothing at all. And now it's just like, here's the random generic alert, I guess. And sometimes I get the normal ones and sometimes I get the generic one. Okay, that doesn't make sense. It's because you changed nothing. I changed nothing for 3 years, and I never had these generic alerts. Why did that change in the last day or two? That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. CSIS broke into your apartment to change the settings. At first, when I first read that, I thought it said cats broke into my apartments. That would be funny if there was kind of like some kind of cat operation coming into my apartment and changing my settings on here. An OSINT prankster. We are in level 2 of this hype train, folks. 11 out of 35 subs for the day. I can move on soon. I can move on to the next segment. But if you can, please subscribe. Help me reach the sub goal. Oh, excuse me. As you know, I must try and make the little number at the bottom of the screen right down there go up each and every day. We're 25% of the way through level 2 of this hype train. We can get to level 3 quite easily. So please, if you can, subscribe or gift subs. As usual, as you know, I must do this each and every day that I do the stream. I must remind people to please subscribe and support the program by gifting subs or bits or tips or whatever it is. There's a number of different ways you can contribute, but it very much helps me each and every day to get this little number to make it go up. So if possible, please do subscribe and support the show. When you gift, as you know, when you gift 5 subs or above, that does instantly put you right at the very tippy top of the friendship triangle system. Really chill guy, hello. It's Robert's the king of YouTube, yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I showed them my shark react video, though. Did you see the stats? I saw something. Ooh, nice. There we go. My shark react is getting doing some numbers on there.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Very nice. I'm gonna try to keep churning those out. You don't need to look at the clip. Did you make the chat sub to YouTube? I told them to. I don't know if they followed through on that. And Lodane, thank you for gifting a sub. That's very kind of you. I told them to sub. I don't know if they listened. I fucking hope so. I hope they did. Weirdly, it's still reading only as 19 views for me on my YouTube, but we'll see. I guess maybe it's going to take some time. Look in the back end. Yeah. Well, not my most successful hype train, but who cares? Who's counting? Who's even counting? Not me. Anyway, don't go anywhere, folks. I'll be back in a couple minutes. I'm just going to take a little break. 2 hours into the stream. Still a measly 23 subs to go. So we're making progress. We are making progress. I'll be back in a few minutes. Great time to head over to that hot new YouTube channel. Check out Rob's viral short. Couldn't agree more. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you, Lodane, for gifting another sub. That's very kind of you. Jeez. Why is Lodane gifting subs? Lodane should not be gifting subs. Even though I do appreciate it a lot, Lodane, thank you. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay. Having a little snack. Just had a little bit of a snack. Had a little sandwich. Ready to lock in now. There's a nice thick slice of onion on that sandwich, actually. It was nice. Remember to say 3 more times that you just had a sandwich. Maybe I will. Maybe I will say it 3 more times. Yes, I am going to pretend Marty's comment didn't happen. Yes. That's absolutely right. What kind of food did you have again? I just had a little brioche bun with some mortadella and salami and cheese, pickle, onion, mayo, mustard, and a little coleslaw. Little coleslaw on the side. I bought the coleslaw to have with my burger last night and then I totally forgot. I completely forgot to eat it. What is this show? Twilight Zone. 80s Twilight Zone. Love a good coleslaw. This one was not great, though, Dane. This was like a cheap grocery store one, and it was not fantastic. But yeah, mortadella is underrated, and I really like crisping it up. I didn't quite have the time to go all out and crisp up the mortadella, but it does significantly improve the whole affair if you crisp it up in the pan before adding it to the sandwich. I had IKEA coleslaw a bit ago, not bad. It just needs some extra salt. I'm actually a little disappointed because I just ordered some stuff from IKEA. And I a little bit regret not just making a day of going out there to get the meatballs and everything and go to the restaurant and get the IKEA food. I think that's that's an important element of it, of the whole experience, you know? I am looking forward to my new shelf, though. This shelf I got from Amazon is so disappointing. I was so disappointed as soon as this shelf showed up. I'm looking forward to my new IKEA shelf. That's going to really elevate the whole living room. Oh, absolutely, Joe. When I talk about the meatballs, the lingonberry sauce is part of that. That's part of the whole experience. Are any of the new orders going to make it onto the stream? If I show you more of my living room, yes. So I'll show you right now. Let me see if I can do this without freezing the camera again. That's my little shelf. It's kind of hard to see how disappointing and flimsy it is. There's my guitars. There's my little tree that I got on there. You can see the shelves already like bending. Like it's so low quality. You can see it. It's like barely staying together. You know? It's really like and if you put any pressure on it whatsoever, it would immediately collapse. Immediately. I was so disappointed in the shelf, and when I looked on Amazon, it didn't look that bad. It looked pretty substantial. any shelving I've purchased on Amazon is shit. I got one for my son's room, which is not bad. That one came out okay. This one was a big miss, though. But again, like I said, Mr. Deals over here, Art of the Deal, Rob, they're calling him, got a discount. No, not even a discount, a refund. I got a refund on my shelf. Oh God, Moss posted a picture of me. It looks so bad. God, I have this major dysmorphia issue here. Okay, we got a couple of cool things to look at here, actually. I ironically like that picture. Well, I'm glad you like it. Like I said, Moss, when I can control what I look like in this little box here, I'm like, hey, I look all right. And anytime I see images of myself outside of this specific context, I'm like, oof, boy. Oh my, I'm like the most 41-year-old man ever. The lighting is nice. I agree. I get a lot of natural light in this apartment. But thank you, Moss. I appreciate that. We got this. The lolly really does tie it together. It really does tie the whole thing together. Look at my Temu shelves. Those look all right. They don't look like they can hold a lot of stuff, though. Finding out the shelf wasn't Rob's collection of manga approved. I don't have any manga. Genuinely, Rob, you're the most 30-year-old, 40-year-old I know of. Well, maybe the baby face has something to do with it, but it's this. It's below here. This is where my issue is. This is where I run into problems. This is where I run into issues. But this is me when I got my refund on my shelf, though. Now I got a free shelf. It might be a crappy shelf, but it was totally free. I give the same speech: shoulders up like death, shoulders down like despair. Sandman people know. I mean, below the waist, there's some stuff going on. There's some stuff happening still. But anyway, it's really just clean, neat areas. It's there. That's where I have my problem. Men were naturally meant to develop beer bellies at 36, and don't let the woke liberal propaganda convince you otherwise. That's right. I mean, that is part of it. Part of it I'm just trying to accept. I feel like maybe I could work on it a little bit, maybe. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to get too much into my physical anxieties or anything. I just really love delicious food. That's my problem, you know? Food is just so good. How are you supposed to What are you supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do with that? We're past the potential for a fuckboy build. Now we have to focus on just keeping the fuck up boy build. I sent another picture to cheer you up. Okay. This is so silly. This is just so silly. I ordered dumplings last night, and I took offense to the restaurant putting 2 pairs of chopsticks in my one-person order. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I document my eating food and watching TV journey. You know what? And the woke libs want to take that away from me. Anyway, over more. I don't know. Trudeau doesn't want me eating 6 raw eggs for breakfast. That's why he hiked the prices. I'm sorry to hear that. I'll never stop eating those raw eggs. I've seen like that Liver King guy too. He just munches on the raw eggs. He eats the shells and everything, which is apparently that's why he looks like that. And don't look into any of that further. Is Porzingis out for real? The disordered side of me would be relieved they thought it was just me. I was so happy having my Chinese meal the other night watching the game. I was so happy. How can you not enjoy that? How are you supposed to not enjoy that? That's my question. Excuse me. Porzingis day to day. A torn medial retinaculum allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. Let's look at some more stuff, okay? I have about another hour left. And there's one video that I don't know if you saw this, but we got to watch this, though. We really have to watch this. Has anyone seen this video that I'm about to put on where a like pro-Israel protester encounters anti-Zionist Jewish people and just has a mental breakdown? Did anyone see this? It's honestly an incredible clip. Like, it's funny, but it's also, I think, really instructive. It's a really instructive look into like the Zionist mind. This woman, she sees Jewish people holding Palestinian flags, and her brain just breaks. Like, she can't handle it. She can't process it. She doesn't know what she's seeing. The idea of being Jewish and supporting Israel are just so permanently ingrained in her that the idea of Jewish people, visibly Jewish people, holding Palestinian flags who do not support Israel, she has a complete meltdown over it. It's honestly, like I said, it's kind of funny, but I think it's kind of fascinating. It's literally the only strategy Zionists ever have is conflating Zionism with Jewishness. Without that, they're nothing but the most evil fucks on the planet. Look, honestly, this video is crazy. You don't come from Israel, lady.
This is because the actions of the Zionist people, they are responsible. We live in a beautiful peace. We lived in a beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years.
How can you say that you're not a Jew? You're not a Jew. How dare you?
When Zionism came in, they caused their bloodshed. They caused rivers of blood.
Like, Jewish people existed for centuries with no Israel existing.
We're all Jews here. Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God. Jewish, I'm standing it.
I don't want that. That's our country.
And the Talmud says it's not our country like that.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, the tears thing doesn't work anymore. She's just some random lady. Like, she really can't understand. Like, I'm Jewish. And it's just like, and the guy's like, yeah, so am I. Yeah, I like that guy's videos as well. We watched one a week or so ago. But she can't handle it. Like, she can't process this. And the totally fake crying too. You guys are monsters, she says, for not supporting mass murder. You're monsters. How can you do this? Like, this is the problem, right? This is the whole Israeli project has been deliberately conflating this in people's minds. So supporting Israel and being Jewish are just like, they just go hand in hand. And it's sick too, because she's calling them monsters, and they're against mass murder. They're against genocide. They're against Israel doing ethnic cleansing and just killing tens of thousands of children. And she's calling them monsters. There's a crazy reveal here too coming up in a moment. Yeah, she has a fucking stroller that whole time. She had a baby stroller that whole time. That's like the Sixth Sense style reveal at the end of that video. She has a stroller with her. But I just think it's really fascinating to see the breakdown take place. And she's trying I'm Jewish, and she's just crying, like fake crying, like with the no tears are coming out, but just doing but like with no tears. She's trying and she's like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why aren't these people immediately backing down and apologizing to me? And she just doesn't understand, you know? It's like, I think it's really interesting. She really just can't comprehend it. She cannot comprehend the idea of a Jewish person who doesn't support Israel. I would absolutely wear a Madonna shirt unironically. I unironically love Madonna, especially Madonna's earlier work. I'm going to go ahead and say this guy is doing it ironically. Okay? This is not a true Madonna head. Like me. I would absolutely unironically wear a Madonna shirt. Madonna's first album was great, but that's because it was all studio musicians. Yeah, but I mean, that's still great. It's still great. It's not it's not 100% her creative output, but she's still the pop singer that's tying it all together, you know? Oh, that's disappointing that Claire Daly lost in the European elections. I mean, that's probably something we should take a look more into. It's interesting, all this, like, the rise of the right that they're seeing, and people are, again, these liberals are sitting around scratching their heads. How is the far right doing so well in these elections? What could possibly be the reason? And they just don't fucking understand why that could be. To say nothing of going back to, like, the decades, and, like, you had all of these socialist republics that were actively suppressing the right. And these were all dismantled and turned into loyal NATO allies and hotbeds of Nazism. All these, like, fascist nationalists were, like, rehabilitated and rejuvenated in a lot of these former socialist republics. And then you've put these soulless neoliberals in charge who are not addressing any of the conditions that's leading to the rise of the right. And they're suppressing the left instead of suppressing the right like they used to. And people are looking around going like, what? Where do these far right wing guys come from? We have no idea. You know? Oh, Joe, I don't doubt that Madonna has problematic views now about this war in particular. I'm simply saying that Madonna's first few albums are some of my favorite albums. Will there be similarities for the fascists and liberalism? Say yes, exactly. And then they look around and go, where do all these fascists come from? Like, maybe you should look in the fucking mirror. You know? And that's exactly like what Keir Starmer is enabling in the UK as well. He's going to win this landslide election, and there's just going to enable some British fascists to replace him in a couple years anyways. Britain is a really interesting example about having a totally kind of fake Western style liberal democracy, right? Because there's an element of this in a lot of our democracies, but in Britain, it's really just that the press has decided that he's the guy. The press just determines, like British elites with their allies in the press, they just decide who the next guy is going to be. And that's all. Then you can have an election or whatever, but like that ultimately is being determined by the press. They just decided this is the guy. And they've determined that Rishi Sunak is a clown, and that's how they treat him. You know, the fact that Corbyn almost won in spite of that huge obstacle is a testament to how, how much his ideas resonated with people. Does the global rise in right-wing governments taking over send us closer to a potential world war? That's an interesting question, and that's something that I think we should probably unpack at some point, because it's weirdly, a lot of these like right-wing governments are going against NATO, like in Ukraine. Some of them are even kind of nominally pro-China as well. So I don't want to say that it's a good thing that any of these governments are going in, because they have like these extremely reactionary views.
Some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based
when it comes to like minorities, ethnic minorities, LGBTQIA plus. But it's unclear whether it's going to bring us closer to World War III or farther away. Majority Report, hello. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it so much. Welcome, raiders. It's me, Rob. Please smash the follow button if you can. It costs absolutely nothing to support this program by hitting the follow button. And if you can, leave a comment about my shirt right now that I'm wearing. It's a new shirt. I just got this shirt today. What do you think about my shirt with pineapples on it? Sound off in the comments. We do stand Matt Leck over here. We do. Your shirt is very nice. Thank you, Duke Vulture. Thank you. I appreciate it. We were just, first of all, how was the Majority Report stream today? And I was wondering if you watched this video. Did you see this video of this woman? Who just like loses her fucking minds because she encounters these like anti-Zionist Hasidic Jews, and it completely breaks her brain. It's a really incredible video. No, she can't wrap her mind. That's what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. She cannot wrap her mind around this. She has a full mental breakdown at this idea. Rob is sending a message to liberated married couples. Is a pineapple like a sex thing? It's not, is it? Oh no, I didn't know that. Oh, whoops. Oh, darn. But you're a Jew. How can you say this about our country? That's what she says. When she's clearly not from Israel. Like, she's very clearly not. She's very clearly not. Like, she's probably from wherever this video is filmed. Those are upside down. Those are definitely upside down. I will link the video, but we can look at it again if you didn't watch it on the stream today. But it's just really fascinating. I really like these anti-Zionist Hasidic guys. Are always so cool.
Zionism is a political movement which is causing bloodshed. That's where our family is from. I'm from Israel. How can you hold that flag?
You're not from Israel, lady. You're literally not.
What are you talking about? That's where ancestors. We live in a beautiful peace. What flag is that? How can you say that? You're a Jew.
She cannot handle this.
Palestinian people for hundreds of years. How can you say that? You're not a Jew. You're not a Jew. How dare you?
I mean, he very clearly is Jewish.
How can you say that you're Jewish? How can you shame your own people? Who is a Jew?
Zionists are not doing well.
Yeah, so how are they saying that? Because they believe in God.
I hope they get used to this too, because this is not changing anytime soon. Weenus, thank you. Thank you, Weenus, for the gifted sub. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Hear the fake tears as well start to come out.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
You rock, Rob.
Thank you, Anus Beard. Thank you to valued community member Anus Beard. I appreciate it. I can hardly understand her with that thick Israeli accent. But the thing is, it's interesting too, because she's not listening to anything that anybody's saying to her. Like, these people are, maybe the one guy is trying to being a little mean doing this and stuff, but like the guy is trying to say things to her, and she's just, nothing is like penetrating. How can you say that? You're Jewish. How can you say that? It's just the idea of a Jewish person criticizing Israel or saying they don't support Israel or that they support Palestinians. It just doesn't make sense to her. Like, that's someone that's so deeply immersed in that specific ideology, this story that has been told about the inseparable link between Jewishness and Israel, that it's like she just cannot comprehend it. Where was this taking place? It's a good question. I'm not totally sure. I want to say New York, but I'm not totally sure. And she's doing the fake crying thing, and no one's paying. It's not working on anybody. You're not. You're not actually crying. There's no tears. You're monsters. She calls them monsters. Like, she's look how stunned she is. And she calls them monsters for not. They're monstrously not supporting the mass murder of little kids. Like, she's just stunned. She has her whole brain has been rearranged, and yeah, of course, she's got a baby carriage as well. I just think it's really fascinating to see this like contradiction unfold right in real time in front of someone's mind. Is it an Israeli passport? It looks like it is. Yeah, it looks like it is. She's never been confronted before, and this is the thing too, right? It's like this is the new normal. Like, I would say that Israelis and supporters of Israel should probably get used to this, because it's like their whole project is collapsing. All the legitimacy, whatever legitimacy that it had, it's all collapsing now. And like this is what they're going to be seeing increasingly for the foreseeable future. This is the new normal, and they've completely brought it on themselves. Yeah, the Hasbara runs deep with this one. Definitely. And I don't know, it leads to this interesting question, because there's a lot of conversation right now about like, is anti-Zionism anti-Semitism? And I of course it's not. Like, we know that it's not. I will say though that I do think actual anti-Semites are being emboldened right now. I am like, even if it's just online, I think it's being overblown. Like, you have people like Jesse Brown being like, unprecedented anti-Semitic hate crimes are happening in our society. I don't think that's accurate. As far as I know, not one Jewish person has been actually like harmed. And I hope that remains. I don't want anyone to be harmed, to be 100% clear. I don't think one Jewish person has actually been the victim of a hate crime. There's a few things that you can point to. There's been gunshots going off around Jewish day schools in Montreal and around Toronto. Like I've talked about, whenever this comes up, I would really be interested to know who is responsible for that. I would like the police to get off their fucking asses and do their basic jobs and find out who it is that's doing that. Because I do not believe that has any connection whatsoever to like the Palestine movement. But there's an element of the fact that like I do think actual anti-Semites are being emboldened by this. I'm seeing most of my examples are like online, a lot of stuff about like the Jews controlling the media, the Zionist occupied government. It's feeding into these like anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that have been around for a long time. And Eigenbat, I think this is the point that we need to talk about though, which is that who I blame for that is the actions of Israel. And like there's no we can not condone any of that kind of talk or any of that kind of language. But the fact is, when you have this nation that's out there and everything that they do, they're saying specifically, we are doing this because we are Jewish. And they create this whole idea. They promote and create this idea that there is no separation between Jewishness and Israeli. They deliberately create that and they deliberately promote that. And so, like, the reality is, when you have a country that's out there mass murdering tens of thousands of little kids and specifically saying, we are doing this because we are Jewish, and they wave a flag that has the Star of David on it, and they commit atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, massacre after massacre after massacre, and they say, we are doing this because we're Jewish. And you have this fucked up situation where our governments are just allowing this to happen. We have our governments that are just like tolerating being totally disrespected by like the leadership of this nation. We're constantly funding them and arming them. You have this media climate that's like bending over backwards to support them. And the reality is it gives people fucked up ideas about this, and it reinforces all of these legitimately anti-Semitic conspiracies. So I don't think it's good that that's happening. I think it's really bad that these kind of actual anti-Semites and the people that talk about the Zionist-occupied government and Jews controlling the media and all of this stuff, I think it's horrible that those people are becoming emboldened right now. But the reality is that that's being caused by Israel. They're in what Israel is doing are deliberately feeding into all of these conspiracies. Miriam's landed. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Brand new community member. I really do appreciate that a lot. Thank you. I've always really tried to, whenever we talk about this, make this distinction when people think that the Israeli government is controlling the U.S. government or it's controlling the Canadian government. Not true. Not true. Israel is a colonial outpost of Western power, but there are times when it does start to feel like that. When our governments are just sending nonstop weapons and arms to Israel. They're trying to meekly institute these red lines, which are just totally ignored. And when we have this media climate, again, which is just bending over backwards to support this, that's the whole thing about the media. It's I don't care what anyone's religion is, but when you have a very specific political ideology that's being promoted above all else, it leads people to have these kinds of questions, and it feeds into these conspiracy theories, and it emboldens anti-Semites. And Israel's deliberately causing this. And that's the fundamentally fucked up thing about the idea of Israel, how it exists to protect Jewish peoples. Israel is literally making Jewish people less safe. It's making Jewish people in Israel less safe, and it's making Jewish people around the world less safe by feeding into these kinds of conspiracies. And that's really dangerous. And I would push back on this idea that people like Jesse Brown are talking about the wave of anti-Semitic hate crimes. I don't think we've seen that. I think there's a few things that you can point to. I think there was one situation where there was a school fight because a girl had tried to rip off another girl's hijab and then was getting her ass kicked, and then that got framed as being a Jewish hate crime or something like that. But this is a school fight that was started by someone ripping off someone's hijab, which is violence. So maybe that's one thing where you might be able to point to an actual tangible incident of someone being physically harmed. I don't think we've seen a lot of that. Not to say that stuff doesn't exist. When it does exist, it comes from the far right, like with the Tree of Life synagogue shooting a couple years ago. That was directly inspired by far right rhetoric coming from Donald Trump and others. That led to an actual mass shooting, which was a terrifying and horrible tragedy. But I think we can have two thoughts in our heads at the same time about this. I do think actual anti-Semites are being emboldened. I blame Israel for that. But also I don't think there's any comparison to what people from other races have dealt with. The totally normalized Islamophobia in our society, and communities, the Muslim communities that are constantly victims of hate crimes, things like this. I think we can and should push back on that while recognizing also that anti-Semites are emboldened, and the people that are causing that to happen is Israel. Their actions are directly contributing to that. Anti-black, of course, anti-black. Our whole society is built on anti-blackness and anti-indigenous racism as well. We've talked about it before. When you took it's not to say that anti-Semitism isn't a problem in our society, but you look at over-policing, incarceration, housing, systemic discrimination. There's far more groups you can point to that are victims of that kind of thing, way, way more than Jewish people are. Not to say that anti-Semitism isn't an issue, because obviously it is. per left hand stew. When the damage to a synagogue is first reported, it's national news, but when the arrest is someone with a Jewish surname, you have to dig into local news to find mention of it. So that's from a rock thrown through downtown Toronto synagogue. That's very interesting. And like I was saying, that's exactly why I would like the police in Montreal and elsewhere to do their fucking jobs and find out who's been using firearms in proximity to these schools, because I would like to know who's responsible for that. But I just, to go back to what we were looking at before, I just do think this video is really fascinating to see like this woman's like idea of Jewishness and Zionism in her mind be like confronted in reality with something that directly contradicts that, and just see her like in real time not being able to process that like at all. Yeah, and there's this whole there's a whole thing that AOC just did about an anti-Semitism live stream where she introduces these foremost experts on anti-Semitism who feed into all this stuff, which is yet another disappointing thing that she's completely mismanaged over the last 8 months. But like, this is like, we don't support anti-Semites and their toxic reactionary ideology. But when you have a country that's engaging like this and directly claiming their own Jewishness as the reason for that, it is going to increase anti-Semitic sentiment, you know, in the West and elsewhere. In a now deleted post, an Israeli occupation soldier posts images showing the abduction of hundreds of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Among them are children and elderly civilians. Many of these individuals were reportedly transported to Israeli detention camps, where numerous reports have emerged of systematic torture and deliberate health neglect, resulting in many casualties in these centers. Like, these are little children. These are children. These are children being kidnapped, or taken hostage, you might say. Taken hostage. Being brought to these like torture camps. And the country that's doing it is sitting there and saying like, we're doing this because we're Jewish. And if anyone that's against this is against Jewish people. It's like, this is why this is breaking for all around the world, this whole idea. That's why this woman is fucking freaking out, because she can't process the fact that people aren't accepting this anymore. And they think they're going to claim that it's like such this horrible thing to be compared to Nazism, but it's like, this is Nazi stuff, what they're doing. And like, look at how sick people are. Like, look, this user says, how can any Jew look at this photo and not be reminded of the Holocaust? Like, look at this shit. And you have all people justifying it because there's absolutely zero in common between the two situations. Grown men stripped to make sure they're not carrying explosive devices is somehow comparable to the Holocaust. This guy says maybe it's because those guys are going to be well fed and well taken care of while waiting for the next hostage exchange, which has no bearing on actual reality. Anytime that we've seen Palestinian hostages being released, they're emaciated and malnourished and have been victims of torture. Like, it's literally the opposite. There's nothing at all in this photo that's reminiscent of the Holocaust. I do see POWs. Pretty sure the Jews weren't radical fundamentalists who kidnapped, murdered, and raped. They're terrorists. They're not going to any death camps. These are all the top comments on this post. I was skeptical of Linda Sarsour because of David Pacman. Man, I didn't know Shin was less cynical. Yeah. Linda Sarsour, the #1 threat to America. That's what always that was about. Linda Sarsour's anti-Semitism. Jeremy Corbyn's anti-Semitism. This is all it was ever about. All it was ever about was supporting Palestinians. That's all it was. That's all it was. This line of logic directly from the Nuremberg trials. Will you explain to the tribunal what conceivable threat to the security of the Wehrmacht a child constituted in your judgment? I believe I cannot add anything to your previous question. I did not have to determine the danger, but the order contained that all Jews, including the children, were considered to constitute a danger for the security of this area. Question: will you agree that there was absolutely no rational basis for killing children except genocide and the killing of races? I believe that it is very simple to explain if one starts from the fact that this order did not only try to achieve security but also permanent security, because the children would grow up, and surely being the children of parents who had been killed, they would constitute a danger no smaller than that of the parents. If you think there's some kind of big drastic leap to compare Zionism to Nazism, you see the exact same logic, the exact same twisted, sick, psychotic, genocidal logic being applied. And frankly, like, I will say that a lot of people that are like supporters of Israel go even farther than that. And they'll say that, oh, it's not just that they're going to grow up to be terrorists. They'll literally say they're terrorists. The kids, the children. They'll literally say, no, it's not that they're going to grow up to be like their parents. It's they're currently, as children, they're terrorists, and they need to be stopped and taken out. Like, there will be people that will openly say this. And yesterday we talked a little bit about the possible role that the U.S. is playing in all this, like in the hostage rescue situation that took place the other day. Well, here we've got a number of evidence that shows the U.S. is way more involved than they are claiming to be. We saw that deleted White House picture that showed Biden in Israel with these first responders. There's this as well. A young boy from Al-Nusrat explains that the soldiers who raided his family home, extinguished a cigarette on his neck, and killed his 12-year-old brother were not Israeli military. He says they were American special forces. Those who attacked us in our home were not Israeli forces. They were American. And Biden, the guy who talks about humanitarian aid and who built the pier, is bringing tanks through the pier. And the person who killed my brother is one of them from Biden's army.
بس بدأنا يوم طبيعي اللي هو بعد اليوم الطبيعي يمكن على 10 أجت الهليكوبتر يمكن 6 7 وصار إنه يخبطن وين في انصراط حوالين العودة بعد ما خبطن لو لقينا شحن صف على باب الدار في قوات خاصة كان قوات خاصة أمريكية صف على باب الدار بعدها إحنا خلاص طلعنا على الدار قعدنا في الأوضة نسمع صوت دبابات جايات من شكلهم مبين بعدين رحنا على الدار سمعنا صوت دبابات قلنا الله يستر بعدها لقيناهم صوتهم على الدار طالعين خشوا في الدار اللي تحت كسروها طلعوا لنا على الدار اللي فوق
All this head wringing from Biden about trying to find a humanitarian ceasefire and all this shit is complete bullshit.
ورصاصة في بطنه عند الكلى ايه شفته وبعديها اجى طخني في اصبعي والله سطرني يعني وراحت الرصاصة وين على خيلتي خشت في خيلتي بعد ما خشت فيها خشت في خيلتي وبعديها طخ اخويا الصغير واخوي الصغير استشهد الله يرحمه طخه في
Seeing kids so used to like killing and death with their own
12
families is the most
قاعد ينزف
heartbreaking
يمكن
thing.
ربع ساعة على الفرشة، وبعدين راح سحب سيدي وسحب أبوي وغموهم، وبعدين أجا كان بدهم ياخذوني يسحبوني، اللي هو أمي حكت لهم صغير هو مش راضي يتأكد إنه صغير، راح شلحني إنه تأكد صغير، بعدين راح سحبني على الصالون، وفي الصالون خبطني بوكسين هان، بعدين راح قعدنا على الأرض وغمى عيني.
It is terrifying. How do you grow up in this situation?
رجعت ايدي.
Like, what does that do to you?
ما يربطوهنش. راح حط البسطارة هنا ودعس علي عشان
This hasn't been going on since October. It's been going on this kid's entire life.
واللي بعدين اللي هاجم علينا في الدار مش قوات إسرائيلية، هذا القوات الأمريكية، وبايدن هذا اللي بيقول لك حالات إنسانية نودع غزة وعمل المينا، قاعد بدخل في المينا دبابات من المينا، واللي قتلنا واللي قتل أخوي واللي طخ أخوي هذا من عنده من جيش بايدن. هذا هو طفى السيجارة هان، هو كان يدخن، هو قاعد على الكنبة وأنا مغمى لقيت السيجارة حطتها هان، وهي اللي صار.
This whole hand-wringing thing of Biden being like, "Oh, we're trying to put a stop to it, Jack," you know, it's been complete bullshit the entire time. America has always been way, way more involved in this than they've let on. To say nothing of the Americans that are just volunteering for the IDF. You know, it's really disturbing. Okay, so we should watch this. I mean, like, again, I think people have made their whole online thing, like going after AOC and the squad and all that stuff, but like, I try to avoid it. But again, this is like, it's important to point this out. Number one, like I said, I think it's an incoherent position to be like, oh, I'm against the genocide, I support Palestinians, but also I'm going to throw on aviators and stand next to Joe Biden and tell you to vote for Joe Biden because Trump bad. That in and of itself is like an incoherent position. But then she does this whole like live stream yesterday on anti-Semitism. Begins with AOC introducing Stacey Burdett and Amy Spittelnick, both Zionists, as foremost experts on anti-Semitism, setting the stage for them to define anti-Semitism for everyone. Trump is awful, absolutely. That's why I think it would be better for Democrats to actually not support genocide and actually do things to materially help people's lives rather than being genocidal fucking maniacs. And then you wouldn't be as worried about Trump possibly taking power again.
Excited for us to be doing this. In a minute, we're going to be hearing from two of the foremost experts from two of some of the most foremost experts in the country in fighting anti-Semitism in America. And before we get to that panel, though, I want to talk a little bit.
Well, that's the thing, Red Wizard. I think at one point I might have been. I not even might have been. At one point, I was definitely far more invested in this idea, not just about America but Canada as well. That's how you do it. You run in elections, you get more and more progressive people in there, and eventually, over time, you have enough ability to kind of like have this influence. You know, at one point, I believed this. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I didn't. But it's really hard, I think, now 8 years into this project to see the ways that a lot of these people who have been held up as these kinds of possible progressive saviors, the way that they've like become part of the establishment rather than really challenging it in any way. It's really hard to still continue to have a lot of hope in this whole project.
We're doing this, and most importantly, why we're doing it now. Anti-Semitism, hate, and violence against Jews because of their identity is real and it is dangerous. It is also important to say here in this moment and during that conversation that criticism of the Israeli government is not inherently anti-Semitic. And criticism of Zionism is not automatically anti-Semitic. That being true does not mean that we should not recognize when criticism and when that criticism crosses a line into real harms against our Jewish community.
As stand-ins for Jews. And it's used ultimately to target not just Jews, but so many other communities to advance dehumanizing policies and to ultimately undercut our democracy, as we'll talk about. What's harder for us as progressives to recognize or understand is when anti-Semitism shows up and is normalized in our own spaces. And I want to be frank here. There is very real anti-Semitism that is in fact showing up in progressive spaces right now.
This is identical to the Corbyn stuff. This is identical to the Corbyn stuff in our spaces. Anti-Semitism is showing up in our spaces. Let's have these conversations. Let's hold space for these conversations. You know, identical. And this is at a time during Corbyn, like Israel was just engaging in its normal, awful genocidal behavior. And over the last 8 months now, we're talking about like there's, you know, have created this mountain of fucking corpses and bombed an entire, like, you know, have bombed this captive population of 2 million people and killed over 40,000 people. Who knows what the final number is now? And we're still having this conversation about in our spaces, anti-Semitism in our spaces showing up.
And it's deeply painful and hurtful to Jews. As has been said, criticism of Israel, Israeli policies, and its government, it's not inherently anti-Semitic. And the majority of people, students, and others showing up to protest are there to speak out for Palestinian rights, not because they intend to be anti-Semitic. But we've seen the line into direct harm against Jews repeatedly crossed in recent months. And over the last 8 months, in certain ways, for me, it's been almost more personally painful to see what's happening in my own progressive community than, for example, what I saw in Charlottesville, because it's happening in my own community.
More painful than what happened in Charlottesville.
We're seeing this manifest in a number of ways. Some of the obvious ways, or I hope obvious ways. Celebration or denial of the October 7th attack, which, as I said, was the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Celebration or embrace of Hamas as a terrorist organization, labeling their actions creative resistance, chanting things like, "We want another October 7th." Eliminationist rhetoric, calling for Israel or Israelis or Jews to be wiped off the face of the earth. Targeting Jews or Jewish institutions here for the actions of the Israeli government. My own.
Again, I don't want to keep going over this, but this whole thing of like October 7th, the largest, like framing October 7th like it was a hate crime. It was a mass like Nazi hate crime. I'm sorry. We still can't be doing this like 8 months later. Like we just can't. I'm sorry. With everything that we've seen since that time about like what happened on that day of like the mass Hannibal stuff, the Apache helicopters, the tanks firing on these kibbutzes, the fact that it was primarily a military operation. That's not just my opinion. That's the reality. That was the first target on October 7th, were IDF military bases and checkpoints outside of Gaza, which is a open air prison filled with 2 million people. This is an occupying army that's responsible for just countless atrocities. Those were the first targets on that day. We don't need to whitewash it and say nothing bad happened. No non-combatants were harmed. I don't believe that. And I like other people don't believe that. But that's the reality. That was a military operation that attacked military targets in an occupying army. And framing it still 8 months later with all the violence and bloodshed that we've seen. Tens of thousands of little kids killed. Framing it still like it's some kind of like anti-Semitic hate crime that happened, while AOC is sitting there nodding along. I'm sorry, it's just bullshit now. We can't continue to do this. We can't continue to just not have a frank and open and honest discussion about what actually happened on that day. Like I said, as we know beyond a shadow of a doubt now that a large number of people that were killed on that day were killed by Israel in helicopter attacks and in tanks firing outside these kibbutzes. Like this has been proven. And all the horror stories, the beheaded babies, the babies being cut out of fetuses, all this mass rape hoax that's been going on. Women's breasts being cut off and thrown around to each other. All of this is proven to be false. Like this is all proven to be lies. And we're still sitting here talking about this like, oh, it's this anti-Semitic hate crime that happened. And the fact that people are asking questions about that The fact that people are justifying it or providing context for it is anti-Semitism. Like, I'm sorry, this does not work anymore.
Synagogue was targeted in the fall. And I particularly want to take a minute to unpack one major way this is manifesting, because
just buying into the notion that it was fueled by
Zionism
anti-Semitism,
so
they're
deeply
doing the thing.
confusing and so often gets muddied in the public conversation. No two Jewish Americans have the same relationship with Israel. Some have no relationship, but the vast majority of Jewish Americans, about 90% according to recent polls, do have a relationship with Israel, do believe that Israel should exist, that Jews should have a homeland.
And there's like an infrastructure in place to ensure that that outcome continues to happen.
Even if we fundamentally disagree with the Israeli government and its policies. And so to me and the vast majority of American Jews, that's what Zionism is, despite how muddied the word has gotten in the public conversation. It's a belief that there should be a Jewish homeland. And for me, that goes hand in hand with Palestinian self-determination, two-state side.
Like, this idea that this Jewish homeland can go hand in hand with Palestinian self-determination. I mean, just how can you still believe this? How can you still believe this? Like, it's been 70 years. There's been 70 years of evidence now where we can see the actual reality of this benign, wholesome idea of a Jewish homeland, the reality of that, which is based entirely on theft, ethnic cleansing, murder, apartheid, genocide. It's been 70 years of this. It's the existence of Zionism in general is fundamentally dependent on taking away Palestinian self-determination. The idea that these two things can exist side by side is just like, it's just fantasy land at this point. I'm sorry, but it is. And this idea of a progressive Israel, this idea of an Israel that exists alongside its Palestinian brothers and sisters, I know it's a nice idea. And if you say that that's what Zionism is, it doesn't sound that bad. That dream is gone, though. This is the point. It's a nice idea, but it's a fantasy. It's a dream. When you take away the current Israeli government and all the nasty guys, Netanyahu, get rid of them. Who's the next government that's going to take place? Where's the next government? What are their policies going to be about Palestinians? Are they going to be nice? It just does not exist. I know that there's people in Israel that have stronger feelings about this, but they have no political power whatsoever. None of this is all just fantasy land now. It is. And we have to start admitting that. Oh no, it's just this simple, benign, wholesome idea. It's like you can just make up what something stands for, but that doesn't mean that that's actually what it stands for. We're with what has been the material reality for 70 years. For 70 years, what has been the reality? Oh, it's just the belief in a Jewish homeland. I'm sorry, but we can't believe this anymore. Who believes this? It's similar to what Trudeau was saying the other day. It's just the belief in a Jewish homeland. I'm sorry, that's not what it is. There is no Jewish homeland in Palestine that doesn't include ethnic cleansing and genocide and apartheid. It's completely inseparable. That's the reality. I know it's hard for some people to listen to. I get it. But that's the reality.
Side by side. And so not all anti-Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic. But a litmus test for Jews, 90% of whom have a relationship with Israel, that says you have to leave that relationship at the door if you want to come into these coalitions.
And again, I also have sympathy for Jews that have grown up in the system where they're told a story. There's a really powerful infrastructure that's in place to ensure that that's how people view Israel. And I do sympathize with people that have grown up in that context and they've heard the stories from their parents and their grandparents and at school. And they're totally immersed in that for their whole lives. I get it. So you can point to these percentage. Well, look at this large percentage of people that believe this. Yeah, because that's been very deliberately cultivated for this exact reason. This is what I was taught to believe isn't his excuse. I mean, I was taught to believe that Canada is this enlightened, progressive, post-racial, a multicultural place, you know? Guess what? That's what I was taught to believe. I grew up believing that, and then eventually I became an adult and I started opening a few books and looking at history, and then I changed my mind. You know? It can be done. It's pretty much blood and soil ideology. So she's saying she has designed it. She is. She absolutely is. Like, I would like to see someone like AOC use her platform to speak to someone at like Jewish Voice for Peace about this. If you're going to have this conversation, I would like to hear from that perspective. If we care about Jewish people dying, Israel needs to be destroyed anyway. I don't get why we have to pretend as if we aren't going to go to war with these freaks eventually anyway for that reason, among many others. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying a few moments ago, PM Trio. The existence of Israel makes Jewish people less safe. It makes Jewish people less safe there, and it makes Jewish people less safe around the world. Because they feed into all these anti-Semitic stereotypes that people have. And they do this very deliberately. Even Joe Biden says no Jew would be safe. Because they want this. They want Jewish people in the diaspora to feel unsafe. And even the president of the United States will go on there and say, like, no, even though I'm the president of the United States, no Jewish person is safe in the United States unless Israel exists, unless we continue arming and funding Israel.
That is. And we see it in calls.
I just hate this is all done in this like therapy speak, this like TED Talk language. It's so unpleasant to listen to.
During Pride Month, where in certain spaces Jews have been told they can't show up as their full Jewish selves. We're seeing it in calls to ban Jewish.
They're full of Jewish selves, waving Israeli flags.
Even this weekend, and it's one of its most horrific.
Yeah, people don't want people waving the flag of a genocidal ethno-state.
Frankly, we saw it in some of the responses to this event. The people who are calling me and Stacy, Zionist scum, not a human, evil, and shouldn't live, simply because we're here to have a conversation about anti-Semitism. Mm-hmm. And so when we use this term Zionist as a pejorative, when we use it to call for bans, boycotts, the elimination, it's ultimately calling
you're calling for boycotts. It's anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, as they'll say. But when you call for boycotts of Israel, oh boy, then we're kind of crossing the line. Then we're crossing the line, and we got to respect. We got to hold space for everyone, and understanding that people's, we got to listen to their lived experience and hold space for everyone, and not be engaging in this kind of racist boycott talk. And listen, I understand that this kind of language was effective 9 months ago. It's honestly just fucking gross to hear this kind of talk 8 months into this mass murder campaign where we've seen nonstop horrors, nonstop massacre after massacre after massacre, tens of thousands of dead little kids, and we're still doing this. Okay, sweaty. Your boycott is kind of crossing a little line there, like, come on. And to have the lead progressive person in the United States Congress going and nodding along to it.
To be banned or boycotted and eliminated. And that is effectively a form of anti-Semitism. And what that does is ultimately divide Jews.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sinister Hand, thanks for the 5 months of Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very coalitions, the very spaces we all need to be in right now.
And I think the point that you make too about the muddying of this term and how so many people have they engage in different.
I'm sure AOC will be given credit for this and not immediately backstabbed by both of these bloodless liars.
An opening in a spectrum here.
Exactly.
I can't. There's a whole. I'm gonna link the thread to this. If you really want to look at the rest of this thread, please feel free. I think I'm good now. I'm good continuing to spend time talking about this. I hope for everyone that's watching that I haven't gone too far here. I get that, like, these are touchy subjects, obviously, but like, I just, I feel like 8 months into this, with the horrors that we've seen, still doing this thing, still doing this like therapy speak bullshit, and trying to say that you shouldn't conflate anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, and then turning right around and basically doing just that, I think is really fucked up. I really do. And I'm tired of hearing this whole thing about how that's all Zionism is. It's just all it is just the belief in a Jewish homeland. Like, I'm sorry, with the amount of horrifying images of dead kids that I've seen over the last 8 months, I personally am no longer willing to entertain this fucking idea. It's not this benign, wholesome idea about self-determination and having a homeland. It's inseparable. It's inseparable from the genocide, the apartheid, the ethnic cleansing, and the mass murder of little kids, which we've been seeing over the last 8 months. Whew. Okay, well. Folks, I do have to get going pretty soon. I've been going 3.5 hours here almost. I got to go pick up my kid from school soon. So I do have to get going. A mere 19 subs away to get to the goal. I'm sorry to the hard pivot to the call to action, but I've got to do it. I'm 19 subs away from the goal. I'm at around 200 viewers right now, thanks to that raid from Majority Report, which I appreciate a lot. Thank you, Duke Vulture. I appreciate it. I do this stream every single day, starting at noon Eastern, noon at the latest. I've been trying to get started earlier lately, and I've been largely successful at that. So please, if you just joined the stream for the first time today, please do come back. I do the stream every single day. So always great to have new community members. 19 subs away from the goal. 200 viewers, 19 out of 200. Should be easy. Should be no problem, right?
All this.
Dr. Maggot, thank you for a gifted sub. Thank you, and Anon as well for the gifted sub. Appreciate that very much. Halfway to the sub goal. Again, 200 viewers, 17 more subs. That's 17 out of 200 people. That's barely anything. That's a drop in the bucket. That's a small drop in the bucket. So if you can, if possible, please subscribe to the program if you can. It's $5 a month. It is completely free of charge. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can convert that to a Twitch Prime sub. Totally free of charge, and it really helps me out a lot.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Wow, look at that. A new community member, Dimster. Thank you so much for 5 gifted subs. That's very, very kind of you. And look at that.
You can count on me.
Look at that. Brand new to the community.
To, talk you through
literally subscribe. Literally followed the channel 7 minutes ago. Instantly rockets right up to the tippy top and becomes an elite member of the Friendship Triangle system. It's literally that easy, folks. It is literally that easy to become an elite member of this community. And Tropichelli, thank you for the 2 months as well. Thank you, Tropichelli, and thank you, Eigenbat, as well, for the gifted sub. Very cool. Thank you for that. And now a mere 10 subs away, folks. We're a mere 10 subs away from the goal. It's great to be a part of the elite. Good. I'm glad. I'm sure you're going to really, it's going to be a life-changing thing. It's going to be a life-changing experience for you. What does TRRS stands for? It stands for The Rob Rousseau Show, which is It's just over time, it's just become TRRS. It's become like more of like it's not even an acronym anymore. It's not even an acronym. It's just TRRS. And it's Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down clout tiered reward system. It is the only such system that exists on this platform. I can feel the clout trickling down already. See, you get it. Duke Vulture, you get it. Day one, and you're already getting it. Amazing. Oh, wow, my goodness.
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Hello, Sean. Thank you for the raid, Sean. I really appreciate it. Very, very cool. Thank you for the raid.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Have you tuned into the TRRS show? I need to go to the ATM machine afterwards.
Thank you, Joe, for the 200 bits. It's an extended goodbye. Thank you again, Sean, for the raid. I appreciate it a lot. Hello, Raiders. I'm here for another couple of minutes. I do have to get going in about 10 minutes to pick up my kid from school. But, Sean, I really appreciate the raid. Thank you for that. I followed Sean randomly the other day because one of the biggest dipshits on this entire platform was freaking out about him. So I was like, this seems like an okay guy. So that's why I followed Sean's channel, and I'm glad that I did, and I appreciate the raid a lot. So Raiders, I'm Rob. It's nice to see you. I'm Twitch's premier
You've just become an elite member.
Middle-aged man streamer.
Triangle.
You know, I know this platform is dominated by cool young people like Sean. Well, there are uncool middle-aged men on here as well. We exist. We exist as well. And I like to think of myself as the foremost uncool middle-aged man on this entire platform. And if you want to follow the channel as well, please smash the follow button. It's totally free to just smash the follow button to support the channel. I do have books behind me. That's right. Sometimes I'm a real journalist. Sometimes I sit around here and talk about jacking off all day. I don't know. So whether that qualifies as real journalism to you, I will leave that up to other people to decide. And Dimsir, thanks for another 5 gifted subs. That's so kind of you. I really, really, really appreciate that. Dimsir, thank you for that. Very cool. Is the jacking off newsworthy? Because if it is, I think that counts as journalism. Well, we would talk about gooning a lot. The whole concept of gooning, which I think is like, that's like an actual trend. That's like an actual like lifestyle. I think it's kind of journalism to talk about that a little bit. What unk doesn't goon? I mean, listen. It's not that there's anything against that in and of itself. I think when you're talking about 24, 36-hour marathon sessions of pornography, then I think we're getting into some troubling territory. Maybe this is just me as an older guy. Maybe the world is just leaving me behind. You know, I feel like that's taking things a little far. You know, that's all. Oh, Wes, absolutely. Finkelstein literally is the person that put me on this. You should blame Finkelstein for this. Absolutely. It's not journalism. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Kusa Kusi. That's right. I'm from Montreal. I'm here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The foremost Quebec streamer as well. Not only am I the foremost uncool old guy, I'm also the foremost Quebec streamer on any platform. If your carpet doesn't look like a granite floor from the emulsified goon drippings, you're doing it wrong. My gosh. My gosh. You're basically uncool old Quebecois Hassan. That's right. Yeah. That sounds about right. Absolutely. So I'm sorry that you've raided into this like situation where I'm on the verge of leaving and I'm trying to make the little number go up. But as you know, folks, as a streamer, no matter how old and uncool I am trying to make this little number at the bottom of the screen go up. I'm 4 measly subs away. So if you can, please subscribe to the channel. And in fact, I will show you one little onboarding video in case you're not convinced. If you want to know what this community is about and you're not sure, should I subscribe? Should I not subscribe? I get that it's confusing. There's a lot of channels to subscribe to. There's a lot of different, Twitch streams. I get it. But I did create this little onboarding video in case if you're unsure about what this community is about or what TRRS is or what the friendship triangle system is. I did create this little image, onboarding orientation video for you. I'm going to go ahead and put that on now. Remember, 4 subs away from the goal. You could be part of this community. This could be a life-changing day for you. This could be a life-changing opportunity. This could be the first day of the rest of your life right now. It's happening right now, folks. The decisions you make over the next few minutes will literally have a profound impact on the rest of your life. That's the Rob Rousseau guarantee.
Thank you for expressing interest in the Friendship Triangle community. We would be thrilled to have you on board as a member of our exclusive platform. As you may know, the Friendship Triangle is Twitch's only two-dimensional, triangle-shaped, friendship access and trickle-down clout, tiered reward system. Today you have an amazing opportunity to join the base level of the Friendship Triangle system. Once you are part of the community, you'll have the ability to rise through the ranks and achieve higher levels of access and rewards. One way to do this is by gifting subscriptions to your fellow members or by inviting your friends and family members to join our community. As you ascend the tiers, you will be exposed to a range of new and exciting benefits, such as exclusive content, advanced features, and access to our elite community members. We are confident that you will enjoy all the perks that come with being part of the Friendship Triangle. However, we also want to remind you that not all friends and family members are to be trusted, especially those who may not support your new lifestyle. That's why we encourage you to focus on building meaningful relationships within our community, where you will find like-minded individuals who share your interests and values. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We are always here to support our members and ensure that your experience with the Friendship Triangle is enjoyable. We're glad that you are considering joining the Friendship Triangle community. We look forward to seeing you rise through the Chaos Zone and all the way into the Elite tier. It's not a cult.
That last part is important as well. That's the thing, Tropi Kelly. I mean, the last part really clears it up in case anyone was confused about that. I wouldn't want anyone to be confused about what kind of a community this is. So, folks, and thank you, Dr. Maggot, for the gifted sub. Very kind of you, Dr. Maggot. My own personal physician. We're a mere 3 subs away, folks. We're a mere 3 subs away from the goal. And then I gotta get out of here. Dimser, oh my goodness. Dimser has really come through to become one of the most elite tier members immediately. That's fantastic. Dimser, thank you very much for 3 gifted subs. I really, really, really appreciate that. That's very, very cool that you did that. Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning into the program today. I'm sorry if you just raided in and I have to leave. If I don't leave right now, I'm going to leave my kid at school waiting for me to pick him up and he's going to be sad and no one wants that. So I do have to get going, but please come back, okay? I do this stream every single day. The stream starts at noon Eastern at the very latest. Every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I do hope you come back. And once again, I really appreciate raids from Sean and the Majority Report as well.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I hope this will further my career as a paid intern.
Hyper Vizier. It will. Thank you for the 6 months. It absolutely will. Definitely. Thank you again for the 6 months. I really appreciate that. So who am I rating now? What's going on here? We do love having new members. Absolutely. So, thank you again, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I do hope people come back. I will be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, at the absolute latest. And give my regards to Cosmopolitics, who apparently has a movie podcast and wants me to come on, so I'm going to go on and talk movies. I do enjoy I spent the whole first 30, 40 minutes of this show talking about the fucking movies. We love them. We love to talk about them. We love to think about them. We love to watch them. So give my regards to her. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll see you folks tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye.